Okay, now that we have set up the application and learned how to move around the documents, let's start looking at all the different ways of making selections and adjustments. In this video, we are going to look at the Object Selection tool and the Brightness and Contrast layer adjustment. So the shortcut for the Object Selection tool is W on the keyboard. Now, I will start by clicking and dragging out a selection like this. And basically what you are trying to say to Photoshop is to try to make a selection like this. And then Photoshop in the background is trying to figure out what it is that you are looking at. And in some cases, it makes an extremely good selection like this. We can add to this selection. So for example, let's say that we wanted to select the plinth as well. You can use this second mode here, which adds to the selection, or you can do the same thing by pressing and holding the Shift key like this, and then you drag out over the plinth, release, and then again, the Photoshop does a really good job, but if you notice, it missed a little bit here and a little bit here as well. It's gone over the edge here, and I don't think it has selected the whole of the plinth in this area. So what I can do, again, I can press the Shift key and try to add this bit, like this. And then if I press and hold the Option key, I can subtract from an area. So if I do this, Photoshop will have another look at the selection and try to fix it. But as you can see, the selection will not always be perfect, which is fine. We will learn about other ways of combining different selection tools. So this can be easily fixed with other tools. We'll talk about this in a bit. Now that I have the cube and the plinth selected, I can adjust them somehow. However, I think that, let's say that they look fine to me like this, but maybe I want to adjust the background. What I can do now is I can press Command-Shift-I to invert this selection, so to select the opposite of what I have originally selected. And now I can go to Adjustments and then bring up the Brightness and Contrast adjustment layer, and then maybe reduce the brightness slightly like this. Let's have a look at another example. So if you look at this image, I am again going to use the rectangle mode, but I will also tick this checkbox that says Object Finder. So Photoshop will now try to detect all the objects inside of this image, and then when you hover over them, you can see that they are already kind of selected. So if you click on an object, you can see that the Photoshop has done a pretty good job, but it's not perfect. So again, we may need to add like maybe this area by Shift clicking again like this, and then maybe this one like that. And then if we zoom in, maybe we can add this. Good. And this and this bit. Okay, this looks really good. And again, we can go to the adjustments, brightness and contrast. So we can maybe increase the contrast like this and reduce the brightness like that. And now I can try to do the same for the drum. So I will select the drum and then again go to the adjustments, brightness and contrast, and then maybe I can darken this slightly like this and increase the contrast a little bit like this. You can see that the selection is not perfect, but we will learn how we can fix them easily a little bit later on. And let's look at the last example. So in this image, I'm going to switch to the lasso mode, and I will untick the object finder. So in this mode, I can just draw my selection freehand like this. And then Photoshop again will try to figure out what it was that I was trying to select. Again, it did a really, really good job. So you can go to the adjustments, brightness and contrast, and then maybe increase the contrast a little bit and darken the gravel like this. And I can do the same for the sky. Like this. And the selection is really good, but it missed a bit here. So again, Shift and add to this selection. And now you have a really good selection. So you can go to the adjustments, brightness and contrast. Again, I can increase the contrast a little bit and darken the sky. And this is the before and after. To view the before and after, you option click onto the eye icon of the background layer, like this. So the object selection tool works really well when you have easy subjects to select, something that has lots of contrast and where the edges are very sharply delineated against their background.